G'day, Michael here. This video is about a tool for converting 3D models into 2D like DXF files. So you can use it in a 2D drawing program, a graphic artist program, that kind of thing. Alright, so in this video I'll also go through how to install it, how to use it, yada yada, and I'll give you some pros and cons. Here are some sample STL files. Now my program uses STL files. You can see here, let's see if we can zoom in, that the model is actually stored in plain text. So ASCII format's important, or plain text. My program does not load binary files, so you have to make sure that's the input it takes. You'd end up with STL to DXF.zip on your downloads folder probably, or whatever the file is that you download from the website. Okay, so let's just click on that. Now here we've got everyone's extraction tools can be different, but in effect, what you want to do is extract that. But what I do in preparation for that is actually in the home folder, which in my case is Home Michael, I create a folder called Home Michael opt. So whatever your username is, that's where you put it. I mean, you can put it anywhere you like, but opt is a good option for having optional software, just in a place where you know that's where it is. Also, if you're moving from one computer to another, you can just copy that opt folder across. So it's kind of handy that way. All right, so I've already got it extracted to here, so I'm sure you know how to extract the file by now. And so let's just have a look in that folder. We've got the binary, a launcher, and some sample files. The program needs a terminal to be installed called Xterm. Now, this is the Linux version, so you can use your graphical installer depending on what system you've got. But failing that, or maybe instead of that, in preference to that, I certainly use this in preference. You'd need to, this one here is Arch-based EndeavourOS. So in my situation it'd be sudo pacman-s Xterm. You press enter, it asks you for a password, you type in your password, a few seconds later it's installed. If you're using something else, like maybe Linux Mint, you might just have to change this to apt install Xterm. And if you're using, say, a Fedora, Red Hat line, you might be going DNF install Xterm. Same situation, you press enter, type your password in, a few seconds later it's installed. Alright, so that's that. Another piece of software you might want to install is OpenSCAD. I'll show you OpenSCAD, so very useful tool. And this video, I'm using OpenSCAD as my 3D modeling tool. Okay, so you press enter, password, it'll do its thing, installing it. So that's how you get the dependencies taken care of. The dependency is Xterm. OpenSCAD is just an optional if you want to use it. Okay, assuming you've got that done, let's go to our little sample file. So you can see it's labeled STLs. Now they've only got one real STL here. That DXF doesn't exist, so I'll just get rid of that. So I've got two OpenSCAD files and one STL sample. Okay, so how do we get my program to open an STL file? Depending on your user interface, it'll be something like this. Open with, I've already got it installed. We'll go through the process of doing it again. We'll go open with other application. You go browse, you go to the folder opt STL to DXF underscore lin. Then you go to STL to DXF underscore launcher and click on that and go open. And you set it as default. And so when you click on it, that's done. So by rights, in a perfect world, that should just run. So let's see what happens. There it is. It's running. It's already done it. It hangs around for 10 seconds after it finishes the task. And then it'll close the window. So it leaves that open for 10 seconds for you to notice what's happened. You can see it's created this file here. Now, my 2D CAD program is QCAD. Let's have a look at what it sees. There's QCAD loading. Oh, other screen. Okay, so that's what it's loaded. So they're the views. So what does that look like in 3D? Well, that's why I've included the OpenSCAD file. Okay, let's switch to that. So you can see the 3D model in the OpenSCAD file if you want to do that. So if you install OpenSCAD, you're able to look at these files. That's an optional thing. It's not really part of it's not important. You use whatever modeling program you like. But OpenSCAD does allow us to do a couple of different things. For a start, it is in fact a script-based tool, which might seem a little scary. It took me 18 months to get the courage to use it. Then I wonder why I didn't do it earlier. To use it, if you want instructions, if you want to play with it, there's a cheat sheet. I found that the most useful way. Anyhow, this is not all about OpenSCAD, it's about my utility. We can import an STL file into OpenSCAD just by dragging and dropping, and it types out that for us. So let's just go F6, generates it. That's the STL file being converted, right? So if we were to export it, so this will show what I mean about exporting. Edit preferences. In OpenSCAD, it's in the advanced section. Your program will be something different. But on this one, it says default to ASCII STL export. And you have to tick that to enable it, right? If your program doesn't export ASCII, you can import the binary format using the way I just did that and get it to, you press F6 to process it and F7 to export it. I'll leave that at that. Press F7 and it allows you to export the new file, and you can call it whatever you like. But basically that produces the ASCII file. So that's a conversion tool, as well as, like, it's a full modeling program. It's basically my primary modeling program these days with the 3D printing and everything. So I've made a crash test, which is a large, very large file, basically to test my program. That'll keep it busy for a second. There we go. And this is to just give it a massive file to process. On this machine, it takes about 20 minutes to process. Now the reasoning for that is, what my program does that's super special, its secret sauce, is that you can imagine in each axis, there'll be a lot of duplicate lines, one behind the other. So you've got these line after line after line in 3D space, but in 2D you only see the line once. If we just simply converted the 3D model into 2D output, there's just too much information for your 2D CAD program. On my machine here, which is pretty capable, I'll just run a system monitor so you can see. Got 128 cores, yada yada. Most of the activity you can see right now is actually screen recording, but if you look at the numbers here, there's hardly any cores doing any work. It looks like there's a lot going on, but yeah, screen recording. Okay, so when you have a file like this to convert, it takes time. And that's the difficulty with this process. And so, although my program can handle massive files, the bigger the file is, the more time it takes. Like if you have 10 times as many lines to process, it takes also 10 times as long to seek other lines. There's 10 times as many lines to go through to seek for duplication. So it's actually a squaring factor of the time to sort. So a little file is quick, like you saw. The other one was quite instant. This one's a 20-minute job. Also, this curved text is like probably thousands of points in that, because zillions of little triangles. So now this, although it's got, it's an EPIC processor which has got a very high core count, but your computer may actually be faster on a single core process. So mine takes about 20 minutes. Yours might take, I don't know, 12 minutes or something. You might get it down to that. Your mileage will vary a little bit on how fast it is, but at the end of the day, big files get exponentially more complex to sort and filter down the extraneous information. So if I now run that with the STL to DXF converter, you'll see it launch, and it's busy. But you can see up here there's like a cyan color line. I'm assuming you're viewing this in 4K, I hope you are. There's a cyan color line which is indicating one CPU is working its heart out. It's swapped CPUs, but basically this is a one core process. But you can also use on other programs such as Inkscape, or Inkscape's like Adobe Illustrator or Corel Draw, that kind of thing. So going back to our original sample, that DXF that you see loaded in QCAD, we'll put that in Inkscape. We'll get that out of the road so it's not so cluttered, the screen. Okay, so I'll get that DXF and drop it in Inkscape. Couldn't understand one instruction, but that's okay. Let's have a look at that. Now I might change that to File, Document Properties, Landscape. Okay. Now, if you want to put a graphic with it, like a rendering of 3D looking part, let's go. Actually, I'll use OpenSCAD again. So let's do something interesting, like the Millennium Falcon. There we go. F6. A fairly complex file, but you can see, like, that's 0, 0, and it's about, 180 across, looking at that 200 mark, and it's about maybe 150 up from this baseline. So translate. We want to go minus 180 in the x-axis, minus 150 in the y-axis, and probably nothing in the z. Right. I could probably go down 10, but I'll just leave it at 0. The reason why I'm bringing it closer to 0 is because the placement, when it does the different views, is determined by its maximum field size, and so the parts get very far apart. Anyway, let's do that. So that's done. Yep, so that's that. It's placed near 0. That'll do. Now we'll go to F6 was to render it. F7 is to export it. There we go. We'll call it I'll just leave it as untitled, that's fine. But the other thing we can do, go back to what I was planning, is export a rendering. Most CAD programs can do this. Export image. Yeah, untitled will be fine. I'll move that away. So going back to our Inkscape, and we have the untitled PNG right here we've just created. Waiting. Zoom out a tad. So again, that's locked. So if I grab a diagonal, it won't change the shape. Then I can grab it and put it wherever I want it. So you can lay up an artwork like that very simply. So from that 3D model, the other 3D model, we've got the 2D views, and we're also able to get an image out of the 3D modeling program. And so there we have it. That's basically the use of this thing. Now, you're seeing how long that's taken. That's on its second view of that massive file. You can launch multiple sessions of the processing. So I'll just click on the Falcon STL and get another rendering happening. So that's doing it's doing the Falcon. This one's doing the crash test program. So I'll let that do its rendering. That'll take a while, and I'll show you the problem with the large files in 2D CAD programs. Well, I'm done with this. Going back to our QCAD program, showing you the original sample that I gave. So let's put some dimensions on here. My program is virtually limitless in capacity, but you'll find that the limits come from everything else around my program. As in, one is the speed of your machine and the time you're willing to wait for a filtering process. The other one is what can your 2D software handle. Most of the 2D software cannot handle these massive files. Okay, so that one's finished. That's the Falcon, so I'll just click on that. It should load in QCAD anytime now. I've clicked on load and we have to wait for QCAD to finish its job. It's really struggling. There we go. And you can see it's really working hard to process that. If I want to get dimensions on that, I can. What you can't feel or see is how long it takes for me to react, for QCAD to react. I'm going to go zoom now. One. So it's, what's that, about 3/4 of a second? So the 2D CAD program, the 2D software that you use, Inkscape also struggles with this massive file. Yeah, you can see the reason we have to filter down the files is not my program, it's everything else. It's still rendering this other program. Well, I guess that's it. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, and ask a question. I also have a link to buy me a coffee down below, and yeah, I could do with a coffee. So cheers.